Okay, in the previous video we took care of the local dodge and burn, and the main purpose of the local dodge and burn is to retouch the image in a seamless way. So that's the stage before applying the local dodge and burn, and that's the stage after applying dodge and burn. Now in this clip we will be focused on global dodging and burning. That's the favorite part of many artists, of many photographers, since now we will be adding a bit more contrast to the image. We will be applying the global dodging and burning to the selected areas, and here by skillful adjustments we can create really striking effects. So let's move over to our global dodge and burn folder, and as you remember, these curves I have copied from the local dodge and burn. So they are exactly the same. I'm just going to slightly change the settings, since for the global dodge and burn we can go for stronger adjustments. Let's select the dodge adjustment layer, and as you can see, I have created this control point and it's positioned quite close to the initial line. I can push it a little bit further to make these adjustments stronger visible. So let's quickly invert the mask so you will see what I'm talking about. The point was created closer to the line and these adjustments were less visible. We can go really a little bit further. So I'm just going to move it, push it slightly further upwards. Let's invert the mask back, and I'm just going to do the same for burning. I'm just going to pull this point slightly downwards. So let's get back to the dodging, and I'm just going to start working on global dodging and burning. The same as when we were working with local dodging and burning, it's important to first look at the image and decide which areas should be affected, what can we do with the image, which areas should be treated. So in case of this photograph, the highlights are already quite strong, specifically in the left hand side of her face. If we have a look at the histogram, we can see that the histogram, the dynamic range in this image is very rich. So we have a lot of dark tones, a lot of shadows in this image. We have very rich midtones that are represented in the middle part of the graph, and we have quite a lot of highlights as well. So it doesn't make sense to push the highlights further. We don't want to clip them, so we need to be working in a very subtle way. I just want to maybe make some highlights on the right hand side of the face stronger. I will be brightening the eyes. I will be working a bit on the lips as well. So let's maybe start with dodging a little bit of the forehead. I just want to make this part a little bit brighter. I'm working again with white color with a soft brush, and since I have pushed this point further, I don't need to really change the flow that much. Maybe we can increase flow from 3% to 5%. Let's see how it goes. So let's zoom in and let's focus on the eye. So I'm just going to make this part of the eye a little bit brighter. It's very similar to applying a makeup, since now we are really shaping the face. We are making selected areas in the image brighter, and we will be darkening selected areas as well to add dimension to the image, to shape the face. So when you are working with the eye, it's important to select really small size of your brush. Remember that we want to make these changes in a seamless way. We don't want the viewer to immediately notice. We don't want the viewer to notice at all that the image was manipulated. So remember, it's better to work in a very subtle way and to gradually build up the effect. Don't overdo this. And when you are working on dodging and burning, simply switch on and off the adjustment layer to see the result you have already achieved. Since during painting it's almost not visible, the changes that we are applying, they seem to be non-existent. However, after switching the layer on and off, we can see that we already affected the image quite a lot. So let's make this part of the eye a little bit brighter. Let's zoom out. I'm just going to make this beautiful line of her nose a little bit stronger. So notice that I'm working with the light that was present in the image in the first place, the way the image was lit. I'm not creating any artificial highlights. I'm just strengthening the existing highlights, and I will be next strengthening the existing shadows in the image to make it more three-dimensional, to make the contrast stronger. However, I'm not creating anything that wasn't there in the first place. Let's work a bit with the lips. So I'm just going to make the line above her upper lip a little bit stronger. Let's switch off the layer and on again. Let's make the line underneath her lower lip as well a little bit stronger. We can strengthen the highlights in the lips. So exactly the same as when we were working with local dodging and burning, we are brightening selected areas in the image, and next we will be darkening selected areas. Remember that we are working in a non-destructive way, so at any point if we decide that certain adjustments are too strong, we can either swap these colors. So if I hit X on my keyboard, I will jump from white to black color, and for example, I think that the line over the lip is already too strong, so simply by swapping the colors I can paint with black color, and that way I will make this adjustment less visible. So when you are painting, simply keep hitting X on your keyboard, that way you will be swapping those colors. Let's zoom out, and now let's get back to the eye. We can make this area a little bit brighter. So having the mask selected, having the white color selected, I'm just going to decrease size of the brush, and I'm just going to make this part brighter. I could maybe make the flow a little bit higher. I'm going to go for 7%, and that way I will be working faster. Let's switch on and off this layer. Remember to work in a balanced way. Keep building up your adjustment. If you decide that it's enough, you can check by switching on and off the layer. And remember that at any point, if your adjustment is simply overdone, if you decide that it's too much, you can always either swap these colors and paint over with the black, or you can manipulate with the opacity of the layer. However, remember that if you change the opacity, it will be affecting all the adjustments on the dodge layer. It won't affect only those that you decided are too strong. You will be changing all of them. So it's much better to simply swap those color samples and paint with black if you decide that the adjustment is too strong. Now I'm going to make the neck a little bit brighter to strengthen the highlights. Let's paint a little bit over the collarbones. However, the face should be most prominent. Let's switch off this layer and on again. So I'm quite happy with the global dodge and burn. I think that the line under the eyes is a little bit too strong, so I'm just going to, having the brush selected, decrease size of the brush and simply hit X to swap these colors, and I will paint with black to make this line look a little bit more natural. Okay, Let's zoom out again, and now I will take care of the hair. When you are working on the hair, especially when you are dodging highlights in the hair, you can go for higher flow. So let's select 10% and let's get back to white color. I'm hitting B and X on my keyboard to swap the color samples. And now remember to change size of the brush, and that way the highlights will be brighter, and by changing size of the brush they will be looking more natural. So we can paint over these areas in the hair to make them brighter. Let's zoom out, and I can say that at this point we can jump to burning. So with burning we will be affecting luminosity levels in the image as well. We will be darkening darker areas in the image, selected areas, and it works exactly the same as with dodging. So let's select the mask that is added to the burning adjustment layer, and having the white color selected, I will be simply painting over the areas in the picture that I would like to make a little bit darker. Let's go down with the flow. 10% is too much. I'm just going down to 5, and I want to make the eyebrows a little bit darker. We can make the eyelashes a little bit darker, the shadow areas on the eyelid. So by working that way we are increasing contrast, we are making the selected shadow area darker. By doing that we will add more dimension to the image, we will add more depth to the photograph, and we can shape the model's face. So I won't be working a lot with burning. It's basically, as I mentioned before, while dodging, it really reminds me very often of applying makeup. So that's before and after. When you are working with dodging and burning, it really takes a bit of practice, and it's helpful if you are working with a tablet, so you can apply these adjustments in a subtle way, in a targeted way. So I've made the eye a little bit darker. We can repeat this here to make the eyelashes a bit darker, and maybe we can strengthen the lips to make the transition between the lower lip and the chin a little bit more defined. I'm just going to darken the line. Remember that in the supporting materials you have access to both files. You can work with the initial image, which doesn't include any of these adjustments, and you have access as well to the final stage, so you can just simply jump to the file which presents the final result, and you can have a look at the masks. You can check all the layers that were already applied. If you would like to have a closer look at the mask and check what you have already painted, simply hit and hold Alt key and click on the mask. So that way we are looking at my global dodge and burn at burning mask. So the bright areas, the white areas in the image, in the mask, show the areas where I have applied the adjustment, which means in this case that are darkened. Let's now again hold and press Alt key, click on the mask, and now let's have a look at the dodging mask. So let's press and hold Alt key, click on the mask for dodging, and this mask shows where I have brightened the image. This mask shows the dodging in the hair, in the eyes, the nose. So let's maybe zoom out, and this is my dodging mask. This is my burning mask. So at this stage I can say that I'm quite happy with the global dodge and burn and local dodge and burn. So now let's quickly compare the stage before and after. So this is our image after applying global and local dodge and burn. This is only with local and this is without. So that's our starting point, and that's the image after applying dodging and burning. As I've mentioned before, for the sake of this course, for the sake of this video, I'm working really quickly. You can be much more precise, you can spend much more time and really work on the details. However, in case of this portrait, it's really effective even with these few steps and these few minutes that we have spent while working on the image. So as the next step, remember the same as we have here changed the blend mode of the dodging layers, we have to repeat this for the global dodge and burn as well. So let's very quickly select dodge adjustment layer and let's change its blend mode to luminosity. Let's repeat this for the burn layer as well. So let's select it and let's change the blend mode to luminosity. And now, as the very last step during the dodging and burning stage, we can get rid of the help folder, so we can switch it off. I wouldn't delete it since we are working in a non-destructive way, and at any later stage we can get back to this edit and we can decide, for example, that we would like to make some highlights in this image brighter, or that we would like to work further on shadows, and in this case we will have this layer already existing here. We won't have to create it again. So don't delete it, simply disable it, simply make it invisible. So now we are looking at our color image, and again let's switch off the dodge and burn folder. So this is our image before applying dodging and burning, and that's our color image after applying dodging and burning. So after completing the dodge and burn stage, we are ready to jump to the next video where we will be working on luminosity adjustments. See you in the next clip.